actual words and whatever with her computer, so that other people can understand what it is that you're thinking about and wanting to do. That's a big one right now.
Are there role models who do this and can show that, like, can pave the way? And I think that role models are important when one seeks a direction. What are the possibilities for, because sometimes when there's she has you as a role model, but a role model that uses the devices that she's using, that is in a place that can give an example, or
yeah,
I think this is my general direction.
Yeah, we don't really have that. We're pioneering that sort of thing.
I think you're going to be a role model. That's what I think.
Yeah.
For others to come.
Yeah. I think meaningful work is really important.
Yes.
For everyone. I don't think, sitting around a card table all day or sitting around watching a television all day is a meaningful thing for Kyra. I think she needs to do more. She needs to express more to have a meaningful life. She needs meaningful work. So we're trying to figure out how that's going to happen. But I think this communication bit is going to be a big deal. Hopefully we can find some sort of independent mobility. We're kind of working on that, so she doesn't, have to go wherever I say she goes. She can go wherever she wants to go.
And especially with a sense of color and design and fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Together with that, I can see something, but it's not like, it's just where my brain is going,
Designing scarves.
Oh yeah.
And have it printed on silk.
You sure? Yeah, that's a great idea.
Etsy shop.
Yeah, you could.
I'm not even joking. She could.
Oh, she could do that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And she could match it with nail polishes that you can buy.
Oh, that would be super. And AFO socks.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That'd be cool. You like that idea? Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She could do anything.
Mm-hmm. That's a really cool idea. Kind of, incorporating a color sense too. I hadn't, I'm kind of in the trenches with all that. So
she did painting though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She loves to paint.
Yeah. She was painting with her. She was using a brush and the tools and things.
Right. And we have a hand device that keeps the paintbrush in place. Mm-hmm. So she can do that too. I was hoping though that there would be some sort of computer program that she can design using her eyes. I think
that was my next question. Is there a device like that where one can actually use the eyes in order to do graphic design, art?
I think she would,
in a digital way,
like that, because it would be more precisely what she's trying to do. I mean, what she's trying to do with paint now, she's choosing the colors and doing the best she can, but she can't move very well. So it's not precise. Right. It's, not
Adobe.
Detail. Yeah, there you go.
I think I have some connections at Adobe.
Yeah, get her something where she can choose those things,
Yeah, and give her the freedom.
With her eyes, I don't think art comes from your hand. It can come from your eyes as well. Yes. So that would be
a little bit more from your soul, I would say.
Yeah, something like that. It can come from. It just needs an outlet. Just needs an outlet.
Yes. Yeah, I remember.
Put you to work. Have a whole studio in your apartment.
She can be the next Vera Wang.
Yeah.
Michael Kors right here.
Yeah, there you go. I know, she'll probably start designing shoes, though.
I think that's fine.
That might be number one.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, that shoe thing.
Well, our last question, Sarah, is
Yes.
sort of for you. How do you think the idea or concept of cool abilities changes maybe the way you view Kyra, or in what ways or to what degrees thinking about her abilities in this way is, in your mind, life-changing?
I thought that it was really cool when I was reading the paper and everything. The terminology, cool abilities, as well as showing, particularly on the the autism spectrum right now, what they've kind of correlated and matched people with employment. That I've never had a doubt that Kyra's talented and intelligent, but getting it out has been an issue, and not really knowing where to go for that kind of help or assistance, or not even that, just thinking that cool abilities might change the way the working world sees people will give Kyra more opportunities to show off her stuff. So that's been a good thing, I think, to, like I said, I've always had the belief in Kyra, but thinking that there might be a pathway to where mainstream working world also believes that. I mean, that's made the change for me. It's like, yeah, maybe we could actually change the minds. Maybe we could actually say it's more valuable to have Kyra in your workforce than you thought 10 years ago. So I think that's a really exciting idea. I think it's a very hopeful idea. So I'm really looking forward to more people jumping on board with that.
Terrific. That's a terrific answer. Thank you so much. I'm going to open it up and see if there are other questions for you guys among my students or Hallie or.
So what are you guys working on? What kinds of projects are you designing? What do they look like?
I wanted to design a light that was kind of like for people who have anxiety, or they want like a relaxing kind of environment that they can control, that was a glow light or a night light that projects textures and pictures onto the ceiling with kind of therapeutic sounds to help you kind of relax if you're getting over anxious about something, that you could go wherever and take this little ball with you and just relax and zone out and focus on that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Clear your mind. But what I wanted to do with it was make it into kind of like a soccer ball shape, maybe like 4 or 5 different scenes and sounds and colors, where the user can turn it and it'll project up. Whatever side is facing up, it'll project from that side. So they can turn it here and get a projection of water, or they could turn it here and get a projection of like clouds or something soothing.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Thank you. Do you have any suggestions for that, or anything that you might think would help make it better? Or
That's really cool. What I might think of when thinking about Kyra using that kind of a thing would be, if those scenes you have, your 5 or 8 scenes on it, if you could put your own photographs in it, because Kyra is always, like when we go to the hospital and we always have to take her photo book with us. She has, looking at her pictures of her family is really soothing to her. So having pictures of her family or her pets, displayed on the ceiling would be very soothing to her. So having, being able to personalize it that way might be something you might think about.
That's a great idea to have a personal projector.
Yeah,
At
that's a
the
really cool idea.
doctor's office, when you sit at the dentist, instead of watching Mickey Mouse, you can actually see pictures of your family on the ceiling.
Mhm.
Cool, thank you. I like that.
I also have a question. If you could, I mean, we already touched upon it, but if you could design a device that would bring up Kyra's strengths, would that be some more like something that is eye-gazed Adobe? What would it be?
Yeah, she's really good at using the eye gaze technology. So I think she'd be more, most precise that way. Like getting a tangible result from it, sort of like a 3D printer idea sort of thing. Because looking at a computer itself, Kyra's like, yeah, well, whatever. Because we've done, they've got those free apps, like iPad apps, where you can draw with your finger or whatever.
Yeah.
And she can obviously use them because she just has to slap her hand and the lines go wherever. But she never liked to draw that way. She liked to actually have the paint and touch it and rip the paper into shreds and and that sort of thing. So I think the correlation between the preciseness that she could use on an eye gaze system, but have some tangible result.
Yes.
Is she's like, yes, that's what I made. Because computer screens themselves don't interest her. She doesn't care about computer games. She doesn't like, you're supposed to go through this whole stage of learning how to use eye gaze by playing these games, and she wouldn't. And it's like, well, just let her talk then. And, they didn't. Anyway.
Where she can take out her creativity and her ideas and make a product out of that.
Right. So she can actually
She
see.
doesn't have to feed into somebody else's idea, but she can create.
Exactly. Right.
This is very doable, you guys,
Right.
because most designers these days, if you're talking about architects or you're talking about people that work in 3D design, they're working from databases of smaller parts that they're pulling and putting together. So the idea of having a grid, much like her communication grid,
Right.
all the pieces of a shoe, all the skins, all the colors, all that, that's how designers are making them anyway.
It's only
that's great.
to turn it into an eye gaze device, right? I mean, that's
Right.
the thing.
Right. Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
It's how the professionals are doing it, Sarah, because
So
it's so much
this is,
quicker.
yeah, so this is what I'm
That's
thinking
true.
about when I talk about design for cool abilities. That's exactly it.
Yeah. That.
You tap into the strength and go with that.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing what one can't do.
So she can go and position them and select this, and this. And
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then see
and then she's zeroing. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. Because she's into more, the concrete things and said games, computer games. It's not, and rules, games, board games, and whatever. It's all about the interaction with the people, and it's your turn now, and gee, wasn't that funny, we're laughing. It's not about winning the game ever, unless it's bowling. Then she's all about winning.
She's a very good bowler.
Yeah, she loves to bowl.
Oh my God, you're an excellent bowler.
Yes. She actually, we used her, well, it was on her iPad, but we used Kyra's communication to direct the bowling in her Special Olympics tournaments this past fall for both. So she had the grid that said, I want you to move the ramp right, or I want you to move the ramp left, or leave the darn ramp alone. So she was determining where the ramp went before she pushed it down to do the bowling. So it was entirely her directing where it would go. So even if I thought it should go left and she said go right, we would turn it right, and she would get a much better score. You're much better at geometry than I am. So
I'm just thinking, about the sense of achievement, empowerment, and control that one can get through, tapping into one's own creativity And
Yes, that's what she was doing with that bowling. We had so many people and officials and teachers and parents coming up and saying, "What are you doing?" Because Kyra was totally engaged, and she was doing all of the direction. And it's like, other people can do this too. They could do this with just the choices on a strip of paper if they can't talk, or they can use their communication device. They don't have to, have some high school kid shove the ramp up there and say, "Here." That's not bowling.
Yeah.
It's choosing where that ramp is and how hard you push it. That's what bowling is about. And she got the silver medal at the state games this past fall.
We have an Olympic medalist right here.
Olympic medalist. She had to get first place at her regionals, and then she could go to state and get second place at state.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yay, Kyra. So proud.
How exciting. Any other questions you guys have? Anybody? Does Kyra have any questions?
Do you have any questions? Your computer's plugged in right now. It died. There we go. Eternal batteries.
Wireless recharge.
Yeah, wirelessly rechargeable batteries. That would be good. And lightweight, right? Everything weighs so much. Everything weighs more than she does.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. You have any questions for these ladies? I can meet you in California sometime.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Come to class. Caitlin or Addie, do you have another question?
I was just wondering if there's any specific behavior or expression that changed a lot from during the time she was growing up, that you had to deal with, and change your reaction towards it. Was there any specific behavior or expression that you didn't know how to express or react to it?
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. What you mean? Like, Kyra really hasn't had many, behavioral issues that you would really need to work on. Occasionally, when she, started the puberty thing, she would have, the crying bouts, as most young women do. But she would get herself so worked up that she would turn almost purple. So we had to kind of learn how to deal with that. So mostly she goes in her room and we turn off all stimulus, close the drapes and turn everything off. So everything's as quiet, as still as it can be to help her calm down, and that works. We had to learn that a little bit later in her life. But nothing other than that has really changed all that much. I mean, she's always gone everywhere with us with no particular social difficulties. Except she likes to laugh at the sad scenes in movies. But other than that, but I know that is an issue for a lot of people, and she has a good friend now that's going through some changes, that her being out and about social behaviors, some of them are getting more difficult to manage or different to manage than they had been. So we do have to do some relearning on how to help her redirect some of those. So I know what you're talking about. You haven't had those, so not really. So we're lucky.
Yeah.
We're very lucky.
Oh, she's a good girl.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let's see who else. Tim, any questions? Is Tim still with us? He might have had to go to class. Hallie, any additional questions?
always many things going on. But, I mean, we can get in touch.
Yeah, we are continuing some research and some work. We're always happy to keep you abreast of those things that we're doing.
Yeah, please do. I always have an opinion if you need one. So.
I think that what you're doing is amazing, Sarah. Fantastic. And Kyra, I mean,
So,
you're amazing.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for thinking about me, Deb, and you guys too.
Well, Kyra has always been a beautiful young girl, and Sarah has been a role model for many people. She has taught many other families how to deal with situations. I remember she had very terrific advice how to deal with the IEP meetings, with school issues. She was always
like not letting them in the door.
Yeah.
Sarah,
That's just one.
Sarah, are you part of a peer-to-peer network of some sort, where people can get advice from each other around questions and advice and
Not formally, really. We haven't found, I don't know, the right niche for Kyra, I think. We've found, and we've tried, different, I don't know, online groups or, across the, let's chat and help each other. Most of the time people just complain. So
I remember you advocating strongly for Kyra. I remember when she was quite young, you were advocating that she could use the drinking fountain. Way back in the day.
Way back in the day.
And I was like, yes, every child has a right to get a drink of water at school if they want to.
Yes.
Whether they have a tube or
Oh,
not.
yeah. Her IEP said that she couldn't.
hey, that's against the UN convention.
Well, I'm like,
It's
really?
against the law. If somebody wants water, a child, it's cold,
yes.
one should give them water. It's the human
We had
right.
to fight for that. We had, yeah. Oh,
Remember when you would let her play on the ground and have a lot of freedom when she was quite young.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I just remember that vividly and thinking, of course she can play on the ground. Of course she can roll around and she can have that floor time.
Well, yeah.
And I just remember you had pushback on some of those issues.
Oh, anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I made her kindergarten class sit in chairs for circle time because Kyra was in her little wheelchair and everybody in kindergarten would, sit on the carpet for circle time. It's like, well, then she's like 3 feet above everybody. That's not, they're not peers then. So her kindergarten class they had to be like, then they'll have to move the chairs. They'll have to move them back. I'm like, yes, they will. So yeah, the principal resigned that year.
Purely because of you?
Yeah, Ashby retired that year. He was done.
I think your role modeling and advocacy for your child has been admirable, and those things are, points of light that others could definitely gain from.
So we work at it. Yeah. Well, thank you, Deb, and you too, and all of you for taking this on. I mean, that's I don't know what specific life circumstances brought you to this, to this research topic. Most people don't just choose to work on people with different kinds of abilities. So thank you for doing that.
That's very true.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And we really appreciate it. And this definitely does help us, Sarah and Kyra. So thank you for sharing. Good.
Thank you. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Bye, Kyra. Bye.
Bye, Kyra. Bye, Sarah.
Bye.
Aw.